All right, so first order of business, let's address the fact that at some point during this live stream, welcome, by the way, if you're tuning into this after the fact and not watching live, let's address the fact right off the bat that I am going to be sweating because it's like 179 degrees outside, and I have the air conditioning in my house up to full blast, and it's still 76 degrees in my house, which is like Satan's temperature. Anything over 65 degrees, and I'm not usually a happy camper. But I want to welcome you to the Let's Chat Live. I know I haven't been doing quite as many of these in recent history, but I wanted to have an opportunity to chat with all of you. I'm actually working to pull this live stream up on my laptop so that I can see your comments and your questions as they come in. As always, really the house rules are anything goes. No questions are off the table. Anything that you want to talk about, anything that you want to ask me about, whether it's related to something that I've created on the channel, whether it's just something that you're dealing with in your life, you want someone to talk to about it, you want some career advice, relationship advice, starting a business advice, all of the above. It's really your show, your opportunity to chat with me, my opportunity to chat with you. Hey, Dreamer, how you doing? Welcome to the show. I'm just waiting for it to pull up here on the YouTubes. Make sure it's muted so you guys aren't listening to me twice. Kimberly's here. Kimberly Kristen, good to see you. Let's go ahead and pop the chat out, and I'm going to make it my full screen. Let's go ahead and get that squared away. So yeah, hey Cece, how you doing? Lola Bell, good to see you. So yeah, really, I want to use this as an opportunity, definitely, to answer questions that you may have. Hey, blessings to you too as well, Ursula. Good to see you. Uh, I definitely want to address questions that you have, but I'd also like to use this as an opportunity to kind of update you on where I'm at, the things that I'm working on, and how some of the things that I'm working on are going to better serve you as friends of the movement, as members of the movement, as audience members, however you like to label yourself. Zaxter Von Schuyler says, hey Zaxter, good to see you. Um, So I'll start off just by saying, like I said earlier, no questions are really off the table. A lot of times people will ask me all kinds of existential, everything from do you believe God exists to, what should I do in this job that I'm trying to get, right? So I kind of run my chats similar to how Joel Salatin runs visits to his farm. When you go visit him at his farm, he says, listen, you want to talk about anything? You want to talk about politics? You want to talk about faith, religion, any of those things. Now, granted, a YouTube video like we discovered last time may not be the best place to answer some crazy existential question that's better had in an actual conversation. So some of those questions I may not answer, not because I want to avoid them, but because I don't think without our ability to actually discuss the issue, it's not as simple as the question may lead it to be. One of the things I've found since I started coaching people on the internet is that we as human beings have a tendency to oversimplify everything, right? Like someone will ask me what they think is a very simple question, and they'll get this very nuanced, complicated answer because the answer isn't as simple as yes or no. And then they get frustrated with me, like, oh, just tell me. I'm like, no, I can't just tell you because it's not that simple. Like, especially when I used to coach people in the marketing space on YouTube about copyrights, they would just tell me if I'm allowed to do this. Well, the answer is it depends. Oh, I don't like that answer. Well, you cannot like that answer, but the fact of the matter is that is the answer. Whether you like the answer or not is not my problem or my responsibility to help you with. So some questions, obviously, I may not be able to answer on a YouTube chat, but by all means, feel free to ask them. That said, and I say that just to say, don't feel like if I'm on a topic when you tune in, that your question has to be related to the topic. Like even when I'm doing paid coaching, people will have questions that aren't related to the lesson that I'm coaching on, and that's fine. It's if this is the thing that's going to help you, because the Q&A is always the most effective and the most valuable part of my coaching. If your question has nothing to do with what I'm coaching on, it's fine. If this is what's going to add value to you right now, go ahead and ask it. I'm also going to use this discussion as an opportunity to hip you, like I said, to some of the programs that I've launched that you may not be tracking, you may not be a part of, that I want you to be a part of, especially some of the free stuff that I've launched, some of the new paid programs that I'm launching right now, and actually giving people pre-order access to for 50% off of the price. A lot of people have been asking me, like, I love the fact that you've got this big academy that you teach, but I don't necessarily have $2,000 to join your academy. Do you have any smaller courses that focus on something very specific, like confidence or focus, or like the 10 steps to building a successful business? Something a little bit more simplified, that's a little bit more bite-sized, and something that's more affordable. So I'm working on creating what's called nano courses that are 10 times cheaper than what my academy would cost, but still really packed full of value. Like, it's still something that I would comfortably sell for $1,000, but maybe only charge 100 for it. And if people get involved in the pre-orders, they'll get it for 50% off. So more on that stuff later. Let me go ahead and read some of these comments here, get to any questions that you may have. And then I'll start throughout the conversation. I'll flesh out stuff like the 52 book challenge, which all of you should be a part of. Hopefully all of you are a part of the 52 book challenge. It's my way to help each of you start to get knowledge faster and to consume more knowledge every single week. 52 because there's 52 weeks in a year, and I'm going to help you read a book a week. If you haven't joined that program, or you'd like more information about how to join that program, let me know and I'll get you linked to that. That program is absolutely free. What you get with it is every week I do a video review and summary of the book, but just covering some of the highlights of the book. I don't, discuss the whole thing. One, because that would be disrespectful to the people who wrote the book, who deserve your money because they worked really hard on it. And two, it would do a disservice to you because I want you to actually go through the rigor of the ways that I teach people how to read more quickly. Because what most people get stuck on is they'll read a book, it'll take them a whole year. And because they don't know some of the techniques that those of us who've been taught, not just how to speed read, but how to read for effect is what I call it. Like, how to read and actually get what you need out of the book, but do it much more quickly. Like, there's books that I've read in a day. I read a book on, what was it, how quantum physics, or some crazy high level science and marketing book that I was able to read in a day because I understand some of the techniques to use to get the information out of it without having to take hours and hours and hours to read it. So we teach some of that stuff in the program. Again, absolutely free. Let's see, Dominic Moran says, what up? Happy Friday, everyone, says MJM. Anna Anderson says, bro, Chambers, well, hiya, glad to see you. Been seeing you back for a bit now, but it's good to interact again. Okay, back to listening. Juliet says, hi, Bryant. Hey, Juliet. Dreamer says, well, I need your help on something. It's been hard on me and I don't know what to do, man. Okay, well, I can't help you if I don't know what the thing you need help with is. So you might want to just, it's always funny, like, people will write stuff like that, or they'll send me an email and say, hey, can I ask you a question? I'm like, you just ask me a question. Just ask it. Like, why do you don't need to ask my permission to ask a question. Just tell me what you need. Anna Anderson says, Ursula. Natalie Gentry says, hi, Bryant. Glad to catch you live. Glad to be caught. Glad to see you. Cece says, working full-time now as a bench jeweler apprentice. Single mom. Living situation is very bad with family. I have no idea how I'm going to support myself and my son on such a low pay. Okay, so there's a couple of different options we can explore there. Obviously without more context about your situation, it's hard for me to give you specific advice, but obviously looking for ways to bring more revenue into your situation is definitely important. But also, one of the things I learned in business, the first company that I ran for, one of the business owners that kind of taught me the ropes, was one of the best ways to make more money is to limit your expenses, right? And what most people do is they look for, how do I make more money? How do I make more money? And they don't realize that some of the simple ways to make more money is stop putting yourself in situations where you spend more of it. So we would always look at, how do we lower our expenses? And sometimes that's, really looking into, is where we're spending money in the business getting the results that we need? And if not, maybe we either cut back on that or we stop it altogether. Like, we used to have this training budget where every year we'd take this really expensive trip to stay in fancy hotels and get someone to talk to us like a motivational speaker. And it was like, at the end of the day, it's nice, but I could have taught that class with the things I learned as a 19-year-old cadet in ROTC, right? It wasn't like this groundbreaking stuff that's worth the thousands, the tens of thousands of dollars we're paying to do it. So it's like, okay, maybe we don't do that. Maybe we find more creative ways to train ourselves that don't cost as much and actually have greater effect. Right? Anna Anderson, let's see. Cece says, I want to start an online business, but I can't write. Okay, so if writing's not your strength, you need to find out what your strengths are. Because you can't build anything successful around weakness. You need to find out what your strengths are so you can build it around that. Dreamer says, anyone who has any advice, please help me out here. I'm actually desperate. Okay, again, we don't know what your problem is. Start with the thing you're trying to solve and then ask for help. Dreamer. Connor says, watching from Scotland. Love your videos, man. Awesome. Welcome. I'm an ENFP, by the way. Sweet. Piney Richter says, hey, Bryant, just wanted to say thank you. You helped me a lot understanding myself better and find my way out of an unhealthy long-term relationship. Oh, sweet. I'm still in the pain, but I know it will be better. And it will be better because you'll get better, you'll get stronger, you'll learn from it. And, you know, time has an interesting way of healing wounds. Dreamer says, so my parents hate me because I told them I didn't want to go to church anymore. Not an atheist. I'm spiritual, but not religious. And my parents are very upset about it. They don't understand. They force me to do things I don't want to do. And we fight every day. I think to some extent that it's my fault. My mom and I are very distant, even though we live in the same house. So first thing I'm going to encourage you with, Dreamer, is you jumped to a conclusion, and I'm not saying you're wrong, but I would imagine that it's probably more extreme than you're perceiving it. You jumped right to your parents hate you. Think about that for a second. Your parents want you to go to church. Why? Probably because in their mind, going to church is good for you. One, it's honoring God, you know, whatever God you believe in. And so there's good things that come out of it, and they want you to be a part of it because they think you're going to get some benefit out of it, right? So to immediately assume that they're just forcing you to go to church because they hate you is a mindset issue. So my advice there is be careful how you frame things in your mind. You jump to a very dramatic and negative conclusion that I'd be very surprised if your parents actually hate you. And I know you're probably just using strong language because that's how you feel, and that's okay. But you still need to be careful, right, with jumping to, oh, my parents hate me because I want to do something differently than them, all right? Whereas I imagine any parent that wants their child to go to church probably wants them to do it for good reasons, not to hurt you, not to make you feel bad or to force you to do something that you don't like. But them as your parents, you know, having been on earth longer than you, they probably believe that they have more experience and more knowledge than you, and that they know something that may be good for you even if you don't like it right now. So the first thing, my advice to you is don't jump to that conclusion. Don't jump to, oh, my parents hate me. Jump to, well, my parents want me to do a thing that I don't like, but chances are because they're my parents, and if for no other reason than DNA, they actually want me to live and thrive, right? But chances are they love you beyond just, you know, some evolutionary discussion. So start with the positive. Like, why would they want you to go to church? Right? You say that you're spiritual and not religious. I don't necessarily know in your belief system how going to church or not going to church plays into that. But I don't think your spirituality or lack of religiosity has much to do with church. You probably just don't like going to church. But to immediately jump to your parents hate you and they're trying to force you, it's more, I would guess that your parents actually want what's best for you, and maybe they're just going about it in a way that's not working for you, and that's a conversation that you need to have. Right? So instead of fighting, try to see it from their perspective. Hey, Mom. Try to see it from their perspective. Try to understand where they're coming from. And then as you do that, hey, my mom's here, everybody.
I just wanted to say goodnight.
You just want to say goodnight? Oh, I got to hug my mom, y'all.
I love you.
Love you too. Thanks for coming. Thanks
Oh,
for
yeah, it was
taking
fun.
out the wife.
I had fun with the boys too.
So yeah, sorry y'all. I got to pause for my mom. I can't not pause for my lady. Are you going home or are you going to grandma's?
Going to grandma's.
Are you staying there tonight?
Staying there tonight. Have choir practice at 10 in the morning.
Okay.
So I'll be
So
going.
and you took her the laptop, right?
I'm going to now.
You do. Okay. Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Excelente. Okay. So maybe we'll catch you tomorrow. If not, I love you,
Okay.
and we'll see you soon.
I love you too.
That's my mama. Anyway, like I said, I wouldn't jump to the immediate, oh, my parents hate me. They don't hate you. I mean, maybe they do, but I'd be surprised if I'm wrong. I would just say my parents probably want what's best for me. Maybe they're doing it in a way that I don't like, but let me give my parents the benefit of the doubt. Maybe they know something I don't know. Maybe you're going to get something good out of being at church. And when you're at church, for whatever reason you don't want to go, I don't know what those reasons are, but is there anything that you get out of the experience that's good? Right? Is there anything you get out of being at church, whether it's seeing friends, learning something new? Is there anything that you're getting out of it that's good, that's not so fatalistic and so it's the end of the world? Right? Ursula says, years ago I borrowed the money to buy Onyx program to sell stuff online when unemployed to get some income. Since I do not understand computer lingo, how would I find a person to help step by step? So you're probably not going to get a person to help you step by step without being able to pay them. So your job is to learn computer lingo. And I've heard you use that a lot, and I know I've coached you. It's if you don't understand it, you need to go learn it. You need to apply the discipline and the rigor to go learn the thing that you don't understand and learn what you can on your own to get to the point where you can earn a little bit of income to then potentially pay someone to teach you step by step. Because the thing that's really hard when you're in the business space to get across to people, especially customers, because a lot of the people that I sell things to are business owners, so they kind of get this. But customers don't always understand that my time is what's valuable, right? So when I tell someone I would rather pay Amazon $100 to send me, what's the book? Because it's like $130 book. I'm going to pay Amazon to send me. I'm going to pay $130 for Amazon to send me. God, where's the name of the book? It's on my shelf somewhere. Evolutionary Psychology, right? Most people who aren't business owners or business minded, well, that's crazy. You could just go to the library and read it for free. Yes, but when my time is worth hundreds, if not thousands of dollars an hour, right? And I value my time with my children. And that's something that I find with a lot of like startup businesses want me, hey, will you coach me one-on-one? And then they want to pay me $100. I'm like, it's not worth my time. Like, you're asking me to spend 5 hours with you for $100. Like, that's 5 hours I could spend with my son, right? And so it's the reason why you can't find a lot of people who are just willing to coach you step by step is because when I coach a business step by step, that takes me 8 hours, right? 8 hours to coach. Like if I was going to take a business owner and help them to do what they would pay me a minimum of about $2,500 a month to do, it's going to take 8 hours. And the minimum that I'm going to charge for that is 5Gs. And people are like, well, that's crazy. No, it's not crazy. It's 8 hours of my life that I could be spending doing something else with my family or making more money with someone who can afford me. Right? So we got to get out of this, and especially labor-minded people think in terms of, well, I make $20 an hour. Like I have mentors who will not even do an action if it doesn't make them $500 an hour. Like they will pay someone to go do their dry cleaning for them because them going and doing dry cleaning means they're losing money because that's time they could have spent doing business. And that's what you have to wrap your head around. It's not that people don't want to help you. It's that our time is being pulled in all these different directions. And when I have a business owner that's going to hand me a check for $10,000 for maybe 10 hours of my time because they can afford that and they know they're going to take that $10,000 they paid me and they're going to turn it into hundreds of thousands of dollars. In their mind, it's like, yeah, I would totally pay that. And so when someone's asking me to help them build their Shopify store, as much as I want to help them, because I know what it's like to be in that place where I'm struggling and I'm trying to figure it out, it's doing my family a disservice because now I'm going to spend 8 hours with this person to make $100, right? Like they could just buy my program and figure, because I teach all that in my program, right? But the bigger thing there is there's nothing that I'm going to teach that person that if they just put 8 hours of reading in and learning in, like you have to stop having this limiting belief that, oh, I just don't know computer lingo. Well, go learn it. Get off your butt and go learn the computer lingo. It's that simple. Stop waiting for someone to come and show it to you, and apply the intestinal fortitude and the toughness that I know you have because I know you personally, and go learn it. And yeah, it's hard, but who cares? The hard is what makes it good. If it were easy for us to earn all this money, we'd be doing it all the time. And so that's kind of one of the mindsets that I'm working on with my students that I coach. Like, you have to start thinking like a business owner. Stop thinking like a person who works at Taco Bell. There's nothing wrong with working at Taco Bell. But if you want to be a six-figure earner, you're not going to do it at Taco Bell. You have to think and behave differently, right? And people who make that type of money are way more selfish with their time, right? You know, I give out free stuff all the time because I know what it's like to need money and not have it and need help, right? So I help a lot of people, but at the same time, part of me is like, well, if I had to go out and learn this stuff on my own, like some of the lessons I teach, no BS, some of the stuff that I teach you guys for free, I had to put my life in harm's way and get shot at to learn. What's that worth to you? What's me almost dying to learn something worth to you? Is it worth money? I don't know. But we have to stop having these limiting beliefs. Oh, my parents hate me, or I can't learn computer lingo. It's all BS. You totally can learn it. You just have to apply it, and you got to stick with it until you get it. And some of it is you need to find online information that actually works for you. You know, find a book that actually gives you the information in a way that you can understand. All right, like if I wanted to teach a class on quantum physics, you know, it wouldn't necessarily be easy the first time we do it. Like, we'd have to spend some time with it. All right, what else we got? Camel Smoke says, I finally went to therapy after waking up with body pain. Okay. Camel Smoke says, finally I was diagnosed with dysthymia, but I'm happy that I finally got help. And let me just say it was worth it. Excellent. Glad to hear it. Mocha Bomb says, God bless you, Brian. God bless you, Mocha. It's good to see you. Camel Smoke says, for those who don't know, dysthymia is persistent depressive disorder. I'm slowly undoing the pain and suffering, and for some reason singing and playing guitar helps me with anxiety a lot. Absolutely, because it occupies your mind in a different way. That's excellent. And I'm glad you went and got help. I'm such an advocate for people, even if you don't have some type of disorder, once in your life, I think everybody should go and talk to a therapist. Because at the end of that, it's at the very least not going to hurt you. But the things that they can learn, you can learn, and they can show you about your life, right? Like, I've been seeing a therapist for part of my disability, right? So I have to get all this documentation from my disability from things that I experienced in the military. It's been amazing. My wife and I we talk to the doc, and I get to talk about things, and I get a different perspective, and I get this objectivity. It's amazing. It doesn't mean that I'm crazy or you know, even if I have a disorder or I don't, in my case, you know, having PTSD, but it's not something to be ashamed of. Right? It's just a reality. And when you have people out there that are willing and able to help you, there's not, like, I don't understand why America has this stigma with going and getting professional help. I really don't get it. Because every time I've done it, and for me, it's always been voluntary. Like, I've never been ordered to do it. I've just always sought it out. And actually, the one time it was mandatory was when I was doing church ministry, and they required ministers at this church to go through therapy. I loved it, right? It's always a good thing if you have good people that you're working with. So do it. And I'm glad you did, Camel. Good on you. And I think that's a sign of strength when you're able to reach out to someone else for help. And it's funny, like, the doc we're working with right now, he's kind of like, what do you actually need help with? You guys are good to go. I was like, well, sometimes it's just preventive maintenance. Like, I have this great relationship with my wife. I'm learning and I'm growing every day and I'm helping other people, but I still need people to speak into my life, right? I still need an outside perspective. Maybe there's some things that I can fine tune and get better at, right? If I'm going to coach people and charge people to coach them, I need to be getting coached, right? So good on you, Cam. I'm proud of you for doing that. High five yourself. Let's see. Ursula says, if I disappear, my phone's almost dead, so I have to run inside. Sitting in truck by the fence, charger not working. Okay, no sweat, no sweat. Dreamer says, the thing is, I'm questioning some of the things I grew up not being able to question it. Now that I'm asking questions, they fail to answer it, which makes my mom distant from the church. So maybe it's not your parents that you need to ask the questions to. Maybe it's a pastor at the church who you can just sit down and say, listen, I have some questions. I'm growing and I'm learning, and I have questions about my faith. And I'd like to talk to someone about it in a non-judgmental way. Find someone who's not going to judge you, right? Or like give you a hard time just because you found something hard. And I'm assuming if you're going to church, you're talking about Bible-based faith, right? Find someone you can just talk to about it, who's not going to be like, well, you're wrong. And Jesus, like, first of all, we're all wrong at some point, right? Like, even the Bible says we all have fallen short, right? And we're all in need of the grace of God. So if that's the case, like read Psalms. David questioned a lot of things and said a lot of things that were clearly not what you would think God's number one man would say, but it was just him expressing his heart. And I think there's healthiness in being able to express dissent, or I don't know if I believe this. Can someone help me strengthen my faith? Find someone that you can talk to. And maybe your mom and dad aren't the right ones to talk to. Maybe where they are in their faith, they're not able to help you. But you don't necessarily need to completely rebel against their wishes. Just say, hey, listen, I'm willing, I live in your house. With that comes a certain expectation to do things your way while I'm living here and eating your food and living off of your money. But at the same time, like, find other people that you can talk to. Maybe your parents aren't in a place where they can help you with that stuff. Doesn't mean you're being rebellious, just means you have questions. Let's see. Ursula says, I have a second job and totally willing to pay someone to help. Still trying to learn stuff on my own, but slow for me. I hear you. So, but the type of one-on-one, like over-your-shoulder training that you want, it's hard to find online. I mean, my program does that. Like, it walks you through step by step by step by step. But my program is also not very cheap. Like, it's for some people, it's more money than they earn in a month. So it's hard to just jump into that, right? So a lot of it is you just need to, like me. I mean, look at how many books I have on my freaking bookshelf. Like, I don't have all these books because I'm really smart. I have all these books because I don't know stuff and I got to learn it from other people. Just put in the time, right? And maybe selling things online, like maybe if online isn't your strength is somewhere else. There's some other type of skill that you can develop. Let's see. Scott Guillaume says, thank you, Bryant. You're welcome. I don't know what I did, but God bless you. Flame Star says, Ursula, try Udemy. Yep. And part of the thing, too, that's hard with step-by-step training is if you don't know specifically what you want to do, finding a course that's going to help you do it, you're going to experiment with a bunch of courses before you realize, oh yeah, like for me, I don't want to do drop shipping and Amazon selling. It's not my strength, right? I sell my own products. Now, I do Amazon, I do some affiliate marketing, but that is a very nerdy, quantitative math type of business, which isn't my strong suit. So I don't really do it. So I'm not necessarily looking for someone to teach me step by step how to research what products I should be drop shipping and going to vendors. I don't want to be a retailer. Right? I want to sell my own stuff. So I think spending some time to figure out what you actually want to do and not approaching it from I just need to make extra money. Approach it from what do I actually want to do? Like, I know your story. You want to write books. You want to write kids' books. You want to publish books. Well, then you need to be studying how do I actually publish them? How do I self-publish a book? How do I get it up on the internet and then market it myself? Right, and get it in front of people. And in some cases, I got to give it away for free to get attention and get people to read it and give me reviews. Right, so start thinking more about what you're good at and what you actually like doing versus what's a thing that I can learn to just make extra money. Because I can teach you things, but if you don't have a natural aptitude for that, It'd be like teaching me, oh, I'm going to learn accounting because I want to go do accounting for a bunch of businesses as a consultant. I'd suck at that. It's not what I want to do. It's not what I'm great at. So, and then Ursula went on to say, I can learn auto mechanics easy. Great. Go do auto mechanics and then go help people fix cars or teach classes on YouTube about how to do auto mechanics and film yourself doing it. There's a guy that makes a living doing that right now, and all his videos are free. Let's see. Taj Marie is talking to Ursula. Camel says, Ursula. Lola Bell says, I'm an INFJ type 2W1. That's talking about the Enneagram test. And it seems INFJ get a rap of being bipolar. What are your thoughts? No thoughts on that. I hate everything on the internet that tries to assign these, because I'm an INFJ or because you're an INFP, you're predisposed to having depression, or it's all BS. People are taking correlations of like 10 people they know in their real life and then saying, oh, well, then you have a tendency to be bipolar. It's BS. Like, I've never seen anyone actually use quantitative math to prove any of that crap. What it is a bunch of bloggers on the internet who met 3 INFJs and didn't like them, or got frustrated, or are trying to get hits on their website, start using the Myers-Briggs test to do stuff it's not equipped to do. It's not equipped to predict relationships. It's not equipped to tell you that you're going to be bipolar. It's nonsense. And what happens is all this information starts circulating on the internet, and people start believing it because so many people are talking about it. But one thing, if I can impart to you guys, one of the most amazing things a mentor taught me once in my life, that once I learned it and I started to really pay attention to what's going on in the world, the light bulb came on. And it was 99% of people who are talking have no idea what they're talking about because they haven't read, they haven't studied, they're repeating something somebody else said and haven't studied it for themselves. It's nonsense. This people using the Myers-Briggs to try to predict things in life, or it's insanity. And I've made some videos about that specifically to get people's attention and then draw you to what I think the truth is, which is the Myers-Briggs is good for little more than helping you begin to start to self-actualize. Like using the test for anything else, like trying to predict what your career should be, right? Like there's some things, if I'm an INFP, I can say, well, based on what many other people with this personality type have expressed, chances are you're going to be more this than that. I'm okay with that. But where people start trying to assign social disorders and stuff to certain personality types, it's lunacy, right? It's borderline just, I don't even know what to call it. BS, right? Don't buy into anything that's telling you because you're an INFJ. Like you may be bipolar and an INFJ. They're correlated. It's not causation. And anybody that would like to debate that, just bring the science and I'll shut my mouth. Like bring science that's more than a sample size of 400 people and we can have a discussion. But like when the scientist in me starts seeing that stuff, it's kind of one of the reasons why I got away from doing Myers-Briggs content, because I realized it's literally a religious movement. And I'm like, all right, I can't. I can't be a part of trying to have a discussion with people who are learning how to become self-aware, but then it's, oh, I'm this label, so that means I'm this and this and this and this, and it's just not, I don't like it. That's my thoughts. What do we have? Caitlin Ruffin says, I'm in college now, but I don't know if I should keep going or take a break. What's the best way to learn more about myself? I'm an INFP. So being an INFP, I'm not so much worried about. One of the best ways, so you don't, there's actually a couple questions baked into here. I'm in college now, but don't know if I should keep going or take a break. So start with, why do you want to take a break? INT Paul says, hello, Brian. What up, Paul? How are you? Mitchell M says, what's your opinion on the struggles of creative types, musician here, and how to deal with the challenge of staying authentic? Apparently, I'm an INFP. Okay, so take the INFP out of the equation and define what you mean by staying authentic, and then we'll have a conversation. Because if I don't know what you mean by authentic, I can't really answer that question. Kevin Claypool says, INFJ here. Someone disappointed me today. I still feel bad for them. Send America to me for any professional help needed. Don't make friends with anyone. Okay, I'm not sure where that's going. Flame Star says, how do we get confidence in ourselves up to pursue our goals and keep persevering when life happens? Lately, I've been feeling defeated because things always happen. Yep, and they're going to keep happening. The short answer to your question is you need to want something bad enough to bleed for it. Period. You need to want something bad enough that when life punches you in the face, you don't quit. When you want it bad enough, you'll have all the perseverance you need. Now, interestingly enough, one of the new courses that I'm about to launch is how to build self-confidence. And I might, at the end of the call tonight, give you guys access to the pre-order form. I haven't decided if I'm going to do that. Because if you pre-order it now, I'm planning to have it launched by the end of June, the full program, which I think when it's all said and done, it'll be about 5 to 10 hours. Not quite sure how long the lessons will be, but it'll be quick lessons that walk you through how to build it. But part of your challenge is not confidence. It's intestinal fortitude and willing to stick with something when it feels like you're failing. Anna Anderson says, I tried therapy. The therapist was expletives. So selection process, how do I select the right therapist? I want to be assertive and sane. Dr. Google says I'm chronically disorganized. So, yes. Have I been to therapists where it was a waste of my time? Absolutely. So yeah, you do need to experiment a little bit there. But I mean, you'll know within one session whether or not the therapist is actually helpful to you. The challenge is knowing when to walk away. I had a therapist when I first started going through the process for PTSD for my disability. It was a waste of time. Like it was an absolute. I felt like he was just collecting my money, not like taking advantage of me, but his style just didn't work for me. I was like, dude, I need you to actually impart some stuff. Like I've read all the psychology books. I don't need you to do the game on me. I need to have a discussion about what I need to do, right? So I needed someone that was a little bit more assertive and a little bit more jump in and actually be willing to say something that's wrong, and then we'll have a discussion about it and then figure it out. So yeah, not every therapist is amazing. Agreed. Lola Bell says, well, I have a diagnosis of bipolar, R/O, meaning they need more data to come to a conclusion. Okay, I understand. So yes, you may and I have people I'm very close to who've been diagnosed with bipolar, right? But I would never attribute that to their Myers-Briggs personality, right? I don't think, I think the Myers-Briggs people, and you got to understand, like the people that push Myers-Briggs are people that make money from it. Like, do you know how much the government spends on having facilitators come in and do Myers-Briggs courses? It's insanity, like millions of dollars. So there's money changing hands. So we have this incentive to continue pushing Myers-Briggs. I am not against Myers-Briggs. I think it has its purpose. I just think its purpose does not go beyond helping a person who's just starting to build self-awareness, self-actualize, start to ask questions about themselves and make decisions. Because at the end of the day, you are who you say you are. And I don't like the idea of personality typing more than I like personality scaling, right? I like the idea of you as a human being are a moving target, and over time, you're going to adapt and change. And right now, today, I may score a certain way in terms of how extroverted I am, right? Or how I process information. But then to just lump somebody into some comfortable one of 16 boxes and then here is your life as a result of that, I don't subscribe to that. So what I would say to you is focus more on how do you deal with the bipolar situation and don't really attribute it so much to your Myers-Briggs type, right? Because people who are close to me who are bipolar are not INFJs, right? One of them is an ENFP. whoop-de-doo, right? So don't assess correlations as the reason why you're dealing with this is because of a Myers-Briggs type. That's where I run into, that's where I get frustrated. All right. Did you say two ENTJs can be brothers? I guess. I don't remember saying that, but I say a lot of things on videos. That's one of the funny things about producing content on YouTube is someone will comment on some very specific thing, but they won't give me the context. They'll be like, I disagree with this on a video. I'm like, I have no idea what you're talking about. I've published over 1,000 videos in my life. I have no clue what I said on video 377 from 2014. Like, I don't know what you're talking about. Right? So, um, did I say two ENTJs could be brothers? Maybe. I don't know. I have no idea if I said that. Caitlin says, I'm in college now, but I don't know if I should keep going. Okay, so I addressed that one. Lola Bell says, thanks you. Thank you, Lola. INT Paul says, I first discovered your channel about 2 years ago. I'm impressed by your insightful content. Thank you, sir. It's a blessing to hear. Oh, YouTube doing this stupid thing where it jumps down the screen. Let's see. Emmanuel says, I'm an INFP in type 3. What is your opinion on software web development as a career choice? My opinion is if you like that and you're good at it, awesome. I don't really have an opinion on your personality type and whether or not you can be good at software. Like if you like software, you have a natural propensity to be good at it. And when you work at it, you are actually good at it. Rock on. That's my opinion. Gabe, the INFP says, hi, Bryant. I just would like to ask, as an INFP, how can I deal with some extrovert people? Sometimes I get annoyed when they judge me because I'm too quiet and they think something's wrong with me. Well, okay, so that has nothing to do with you being an INFP. That's you being around crappy people. Find better friends. Next question. I read a lot, B. I sell art, which I'm good at. I have not found the right computer book to learn what I need. I'm studying publishing, not slacking, just hoping not to waste Onyx program. Yeah, so I haven't gotten deep into Onyx program. I imagine his is very much like a lot of other people. Matter of fact, I had a meeting. Onyx just launched a new center that I was a part of because one of my business partners was doing some work with him a couple weeks ago. I imagine his programs are very much like other internet marketers where it's get in my program and then I'm going to upsell you 50 times. Like, well, then you really need to buy the $10,000 program because that's where I really teach you stuff. I hate that method and I don't use it. So I don't know how Onyx program can or can't help you. I know that you're not a slacker. My advice to you is just really, your excuse has been consistently, I'm not good at this. Well, go get good at it. Read every book on computers until you find the one that works. Like instead of worrying about it and fussing about it, go do the work. All right? Just go figure it out. Kevin Claypool says, I'll be even more undignified than this in my worship woman. Go and be Barrett. Now, sometimes people write stuff on the internet. I have no idea what they're talking about. Let's see. Jordan Williamson says, anyone have any experience as an ENTJ with an ENTJ sibling? Let's see. God, I hate when YouTube does this. I need to start having all my calls on Zoom and just leave YouTube alone sometimes. Sometimes I really debate with like, do I still need to be on YouTube? Like, I could really just focus on Amazon and doing my private calls and call it a day. INT Paul says, many channels inspire me to start and promote my channel, with Brian's channel being one of them. Awesome. Access Kelly says, read your about and it seems your channel was birthed in prayer, yet on one of your videos, you took the Lord's name in vain. Not cool. Please don't let that occur. Okay, so I don't remember taking the Lord's name in vain. And you and I may have different definitions of how that works. um, so if I offended you, I would say get a thicker skin and my apologies. But it wasn't my intent. Flamestar says, LOL, that is interesting. Can't wait to watch those lessons. For me, it's health reasons that keep getting in my way. I've been diagnosed with, okay. But thank you, Mr. Bryan. Okay, so what did I say to Flamestar that led to that discussion? Guardian Soulblade says, hi, B, nice to see you again. Always nice to see you. And it's nice to be seen. Sean Smith says, I'm a 16-year-old INFP. I feel like I'm getting angrier and angrier every day. A lot of people have done me wrong, but I still talk to them and am sympathetic. What do I do to control myself? Well, it sounds like you're controlling yourself fine. Some of the people that ask me questions on the internet, I'm like, who are these people that you're around that are so crappy? Like, just get around better people. Get around people that don't make you angry, right? Like, no one said you had to be like. This is another thing too. Like, in my faith system, I'm required to love people. And love is not this romantic, touchy-feely nonsense that people have been led to believe it is. It's a choice to respect and show people dignity. Doesn't mean I have to like people. There are many people who I do not like. And if I had the choice, I wouldn't be around them. So that's what I would do. Access Kelly says, I'm new to your channel. Why have you chosen to focus so much on INFJ? Yes, I am one. So I focus on a number of different things, but a lot of that has to do with what the audience asks for. So my focus has always been on what I want to talk about at the time, but mixed with what people actually watch and respond to. So if one were to wonder why is there so much of this type of content, it's because this type of content has shown that people are really interested in it. You know, I have the luxury of seeing analytics when I publish a video. I see when one does really well, I see when one doesn't, and then I can make decisions on what I make in the future. I also actually shot a video answering that question, and it was a marketing video. I don't know where it is on my YouTube channel, but if you search for it, like if you go to my channel and just click videos, you can find why do I keep making so many INFP videos. Even though you asked about INFJ, it would explain it to you. Healthy Cow says, hey, what's up, man? Good to see you. Kevin Claypool says, ooh, personality scaling is a crazy attractive idea to me. Nice info. So go take the Hexaco test. HEXACO.org. I really want to start making more Hexaco content. Right now, the internet hasn't quite caught up because everyone's still on this Myers-Briggs religion. But eventually the world's going to catch up to a lot of the science right now is focused on the Big Six or the Hexaco test. The world's just usually slow to catch up. Also, one of the reasons why Myers-Briggs caught on so well is the people who sell content and programs around it are really good storytellers. That doesn't exist for Hexaco yet. So I've started trying to position myself as that person, not to sell things, but just to get people interested in a test that I think is actually better at measuring you in a way that's going to be helpful for you. So definitely go take the Hexaco test and watch some of the Hexaco content that I've made. Flamestar says, Sean, okay, so he's talking to someone else. My planet is Pluto, says, I'm an INFP software person. There you go. All right. bless America. I hate when YouTube does this. Digital can't read your name says, yo, Brian, how's it going and what's new? It's great. And nothing much is new, just grinding every day to build a world that I actually want to live in. Sean Smith says, but I've forgiven too many times. Access Kelly says, you should type explain celebrities like Trump and Kanye. You'll blow up like PewDiePie. I could. Not interested in that because frankly, I don't know what their types are. I'd just be guessing. But I also am not necessarily interested in blowing up per se. It's actually not bad advice. I'm the type of person who wants to make content that I think is actually valuable. And I think there's value in entertainment like that, but I think that's kind of pointless content. I may find a way to make that type of content work, but I'm really more focused right now on dropping legit content that's going to help people spiritually, physically, and financially. And making more Myers-Briggs content's really not in that vein, but we'll see. I'm not completely opposed. Thank you for the suggestion. All right, Infinite Jurisdiction says, what's up, all? Kevin Claypool says, I have this ability to do anything I want to do, but only whenever I want to do it. How do I become more constant in doing the things when I don't want to do them? Well, tie those things to something that you do want to do. Like, I don't want to do accounting, but if I don't do it, my business goes out of business, and I care a lot about my business. Let's see. Flamestar says, sometimes us INFPs need a break and time to ourselves and time to re-energize. Cool. Axis Kelly says, you said Jesus. I say Jesus all the time. I believe in Jesus. I really like Jesus. In fact, I'd say I love him. And I'd say that he is the reason why I'm still alive today. So if you were offended by me saying Jesus, I don't know what to tell you because I'm not going to stop saying Jesus' name. I pray in Jesus' name. So don't really know how to not offend you in that category. But you will also learn very quickly that I don't live in a world where, like the Bible says, live not in offense, right? It actually says that. So I don't get offended. And so when people get offended with me, I'm somewhat unapologetic because I know my intent is good. So if I'm saying something, it's because I want to have a positive impact on your life. If it doesn't have that, there's a little bit of remorse because my intent was good, but it may not have had the desired effect. But I also don't get phased out when people are offended by what I say because the intent was never to offend. And if they're offended, sadly, it's their problem. And I don't live in this hypersensitive world where I need to be worried about everything I say is going to potentially put somebody else off. Now, if you feel like I broke with tradition, with scripture, I can own that. And I can say, well, I don't necessarily agree with you, but I respect that that's the way you think. But that's as far as it's going to go. I'm going to be very unapologetic for standing on my convictions and what I believe in, even if it offends somebody. Because at the end of the day, everything I'm going to say is going to offend somebody. I could post the cure for cancer tomorrow and someone's going to have a problem with it, right? So my suggestion to you is if something I said, well-intentioned, still made you feel a certain way, I want to toughen that skin up a little bit. Because there's a lot of other people on the internet who aren't going to have your best interest at heart, or at least give a crap about you to the point where they don't mean to offend you, right? And you can't go, it's like the Bible says, live not in offense. Have you seen the new music video called This Is America by Donald Glover, aka Childish Gambino? I saw that it came out. I didn't watch it. Sorry, I don't watch much entertainment. And when I do, it's usually like old school stuff that I watch on Amazon Prime. So no, I haven't seen it yet. INTP Paul says, I'm a 5W6 SXSP, which is quite common for INTPs. Cool. Yeah, I haven't really delved too much in the Enneagram content yet. I probably will at some point because a large part of my content is about being self-aware, which is why I started doing Myers-Briggs in the first place. But, you know. DH Lord says, yo, attempting that 52 book challenge. Word. Glad to have you on the train. My planet is Pluto. Can anyone throw out a question? A3 person says, I love the hexacode. Great. Sean Smith says, what is your personality? Depends on how you're measuring it. If it's Myers-Briggs, I'm ENTJ. Let's see. Dominic Moran says, INFP 4W5 here. Bryant, how much time do you spend on your business and how do you prioritize your time? So I would tell you to read a book called The One Thing by Gary Keller. That will explain that question to you way better than I can answer it here on YouTube. The bottom line is I counterbalance, right? Sometimes I spend a lot of time on my business. Sometimes I spend no time on my business. Depends on what the priority is for the moment. Sometimes I spend all my time with my family. Sometimes I spend all my time with my business. Where most people go wrong is they try to have this BS thing called work-life balance, which isn't a thing, right? Like, I want to have the job and the wife and the kids. No, sometimes I need to go all in on my business. Sometimes I need to go all in with my family, you know? So the answer is it depends on where I'm at in the situation and what we're doing. Like right now, spending a ton of time on my business because we're doing business development and we're working to bring on 100 new clients because I want to hire a bunch of new people, right? And take better care of the people who are already on our team. So the business gets a disproportionate amount of my time. My family doesn't get neglected, but there are times where I have to say, like right now at 10:58 p.m. on a Friday, I'm not hanging out with my kids and my wife. I'm down here working, right? Down here trying to change lives, which is a part of my business. Axis Kelly says, celebrity typing will help reach and educate the masses, not normally inclined to learn about self-improvement. Absolutely true. But I don't know that I'm trying to reach the masses, nor do I believe that the masses are able to be educated because they're not necessarily looking to be educated more so than they're looking to be entertained. And all successful people value education over entertainment, which is where that dilemma comes from. So yes, I could reach more people, but would I have the desired effect on those people's lives? Or would I just be someone who's entertaining them for 5 minutes before they move on to their next thing when I stop being entertaining? Now, keep in mind, I used to be a musician, so this is not my first rodeo. I understand how audience attention works, and I understand what gets attention, and sometimes I think it's better to work with 300 people who are ninja stealth assassins than try to work with 30 million who would just rather watch Taylor Swift videos. So, don't disagree with you, just think our desired outcomes may be a little bit different. Ursula says, phone dead, peace out, universal love to all. Love you too, Ursula. Thanks for coming. My planet is Pluto, AB. I'm a type 9, INFP, age 25. I've been relatively successful in my career as a generalist, jack of all trades with totally different skills. When I promote myself, do I really have to do this thing folks do these days when they pretend to specialize in only one thing? So I don't think anyone ever specializes in only one thing, but it's very hard to communicate value to someone in a brief moment without understanding what they're specific. So here's the thing, like if you're good at 6 things, no, you don't need to promote that you're only good at one thing, but promote that you're good at the thing that the person who wants to buy something from you needs. I'll give you an example. If I'm going to work with a plumber, I'm not going to tell them how amazing I am at building YouTube channels, right? Like that I've helped brands like Tim Schmoyer and I've helped my brand and I've helped people who have millions of followers, right? I'm not going to tell him about that because he didn't care. He doesn't need that. What he needs is search engine optimization. So while I'm good at a bunch of different things, I'm going to focus on the one that he needs so that he knows that he or she knows I can add value to their business. Axis Kelly says, you can say Jesus, just not flippantly, as in exclamatory statement of surprise, shock, or anger. That's basically biblical theology. But I'll forgive you. Kind of surprised you don't know that, though. It's not about knowing. I just don't agree with you. You know, what you say is flippant is just me expressing myself in a way that's tied to my faith. So it has nothing to do with a lack of knowledge. It just has to do with I am not as, I don't know what the right word is, biblically anal about that. I don't think Jesus is in heaven right now. Like, I can't believe he just used my name. Oh, he did that, right? Because I think when you really boil down, especially like when you start studying scripture in Hebrew and Greek and you understand what some of these words, the meaning behind some of these words, and you start to understand that vanity is not about just me flippantly saying Jesus, because I can tell you preachers that do that, but it's what is the intent behind my words. Like if I'm calling out Jesus, even in a moment of surprise, it means that my heart and my head is focused on him, right? So what you're calling flippant, I'm calling a mind that's just focused on that. It's a difference of perspective. Now you can say that I'm wrong, and I'll accept that. I'm just not going to agree with you, and I'm not going to necessarily respect that you're questioning theology and all that stuff, nor am I really going to get all that phased out that you were offended by it. So there's plenty of other people that you can get behind that if they're not offending you and they fall into whatever your box of comfort is, by all means, I am all good with. One of my favorite things is losing followers, because if people aren't behind the mission and what I'm trying to impart to people's lives, so be it. What are your thoughts on education reform, especially in poverty-stricken areas where education isn't valued and promotes bad decisions like gangs and drugs? I think education reform is a pipe dream that's never going to happen. I think education is going to happen at a grassroots level. It's already happening because the internet has decentralized everything, and people like me are actually educators. And part of the reason why I do what I do is because I want to deprogram the planet from all the BS that they've been consuming, like stupid entertainment, right? It's part of what we do. So the internet is giving us opportunities to educate in ways that brick and mortar schools can't do and never will be able to keep up with. Right? I'm more concerned with what my kids learn inside these four walls in my house than what they're ever going to learn at a school. So am I going to spend a lot of my energy trying to reform a school that's going to take 70 years to turn around because our school systems were actually built by a person who used them to raise soldiers back in the 1700s? No. Because if that system hasn't evolved in 400, 300, however many hundreds of years, me thinking silly me is going to be able to change that is somewhat, in my opinion, it's I would be a lunatic. Instead, I'm just going to contribute what I can to the people that I can reach. Now, in my line of work, I have reached millions of people with what I do. I can guarantee you every teacher in my entire state combined has not reached 1 million people. So I'm not so much worried about education reform. I think it's garbage. I think we need to start having better teaching inside our homes, which is, I mean, like even go back to biblical history and learn how people learn through apprenticeship. Right? That's how, we were talking about Jesus earlier. That's how he learned. His father was a carpenter. Guess what? That's what he did too. So I'm more concerned with what my kids learn from me and what they learn from what's on these bookshelves. Now, I'm not against school. I'm not against the system, but I'm telling you right now, if it were legal for me to pull my kids out of school and I had the time to homeschool them, I would do it tomorrow. So I think reform starts with us. And I think a lot of times we look for governments to solve problems that are human issues that we need to be solving at an individual level. Government starts with self-governance, and I think we've lost sight of that. Let's see. If Alex Jones can entertain and red pill, so can you. Well, if you think Alex Jones is educating people, then you and I are on opposite sides of the coin. I think most of what he does is ass clownery. And I would not hang my hat on him educating me on anything when he's trying to say that your iPhone is tracking your DNA because it's pulling hair out of your, like it's. I'm not going to be Alex Jones. So if that's what you're looking for, no thank you. My planet is Pluto. Great advice, B. Support. Lola Bell says, as I understand the meaning of not taking the Lord's name in vain, it was not to use the name of the Lord to promote your own vanity. There you go. There you have it. Or, I mean, there were a lot of people, like, look at the Pharisees. You want to talk about people that use the Lord's name in vain? The Pharisees literally used the name of God to oppress people, right? Like, I'm more worried. I think Jesus is a little bit more concerned about that than someone who, by the way, his name isn't even Jesus, for God's sake. Like, if we're going to translate his name, anyway, I'm not going to get into a asinine discussion about semantics. Piney Richter says, there is a spider behind my bed, so I am afraid to go to sleep, but I'm tired enough, so I'll go. Wish me luck. Why don't you just kill the spider? Let's see. Guardian Soulblade says, a big shoot. I'm hoping to get into a business development intern program. Just had a Skype interview this evening. Awesome. Got tired of trying to find work in academia and government research. Yeah, sometimes I think government research is an oxymoron. Because even if the government finds something, God bless you if you think they're going to use it in a timely fashion. Let's see. A3 person says, no, don't kill it. Just transport it to a safe place outside. Ooh, a pacifist. Awesome, awesome. I think my favorite comment of the night was Kanye is educating, put that in air quotes, the masses. Cool, cool. All right, so it looks like there's a lull in the questions because everybody's worried about the spider. Let's talk about some of the programs. How many of you, you can comment with a smiley face or something in the comments that says, or just say I in the comment section. How many of you right now are part of the 52 book challenge? Say I in the comments. Sean, and I'll read questions as you guys are doing that. Sean Bordner says, hey, I'm an INFP. I struggle with being put in the friend zone and being taken advantage of. I feel like I have to pretend to be a douche in order to gain respect. How can I be myself and get respect? Be yourself and get respect. That's how you do it. Be yourself and don't apologize for it. Stop trying to acquiesce to people who aren't going to like you anyway. Understand that the friend zone is actually a good place to be if you understand anything about healthy relationships. Take that from a guy who's been married for almost 20 years. And all this BS about friend zone is actually BS. So I imagine you're in your teens, maybe early 20s. That's some NBC sitcom nonsense. Like, someone who is going to respect you and appreciate you for who you are is just going to do that. So you don't need to tap dance for anybody. Taj Marie says, my problem is that I have too much that I want to do, and whenever there is a setback, it seems that there is just that more that I have to do to catch up. So no. Whenever there's a setback, you just stop where you are. You don't go backwards. You pick up and you keep moving. Like, I'm really taken aback by how many people think that success is this thing that talented people do. All of these people that you think are talented, that are succeeding, have, like Michael Jordan himself. If you're too young to know Michael Jordan, he's arguably the best professional basketball player that ever played the game. He missed more shots than he made. But only people remember the good stuff because he was willing to keep failing in order to get where he wanted to be. So this idea that a setback means you didn't fall off the tracks, you just stopped where you were, pick yourself up, dust off, and keep moving. Life, guys, I don't know any other way to tell you, life is going to punch you in the mouth repeatedly. You've got to be tough. That's why I was telling people earlier, like, if something I said offended you, your skin is too thin, right? And I say that not because I need to defend myself, because I actually care about the person. I want them to go through life where everything somebody says is, oh, that's offensive. Well, grow up. If you're offended, it's your problem, right? I have a session that I teach on in one of my programs that you are what you answer to, period. So if somebody calls me a name and I get offended, guess what? I'm only offended because I think they might be right. I'm not going to be offended if they're wrong. you've got to have that mental and a physical toughness that when life punches you in the mouth, you can just get back up, dust it off, and keep rolling. And to be able to do that, let me be practical with you for a second. To be able to do that, you have to want something bad enough. Like we were talking about Jesus earlier, and there's a story where he healed a woman with an issue of blood, and the woman actually just reached out and touched Jesus and was healed. And Jesus stops the crowd. He's like, I felt power go out from me. What was that? And the woman basically falls before him. It's like, I knew if I could just touch the hem of your garment, I would be healed. And he's like, well, he says something actually very offensive to her. And her response is, well, that's fine, but it still got me where I wanted to be. And then he was like, exactly. This is the type of faith that I'm looking for in people, which is she wanted it so bad that she was willing to humiliate herself and potentially put herself in harm's way to get what she needed, which was to not die. And I'm telling you, when you want to succeed at something as bad as you don't want to die, you will have no problem with success. The problem with almost every single person who's struggling is you don't want anything bad enough to get up every day and fight for it. You know how many clients tell me no before one tells me yes? 98 out of 100, or 96 out of 100 tell me no. 96 out of 100 clients on average tell me no, or don't answer me at all. What do you think that feels like when I'm every day reaching out to new potential clients? But that one that says yes, because I was willing to stay in the game and keep going. I had a client the other day that forgot who I was. And they asked me to help them. I didn't go to them. They're like, oh, I need help and blah, blah, blah. And when I called them back and put the proposal together, they're like, who are you? He actually, when he answered the phone, he started yelling at me because he thought I was one of his clients. You got to have thick skin, friends, if you want to win. You got to do it. All right, what do we got? Hey, Healthy Cow, did you ever accept my friend request on Steam? I wanted to send you that gift card, man. I haven't been back on Steam since I sent you the email, so I need to check it. And it was just my way of saying thanks, man, for being a part of the program and letting us serve you. See, when you get in our programs, man, we give out gifts. That's how we roll. Reading Dave says, I would love to figure out how to do basic research outside of academia. Read books. And you should join my 52 book challenge because I'm going to be giving you some of the world's best books on all kinds of topics, from health to business to life improvement to warfare. You name it, we're going to cover it. Do you believe in revenge if it's for a loved one? I mean, what does it mean to believe in something? Like, do I believe revenge exists? Sure. Do I think you should do it, which is what I think you're asking me? No, this is not going to help you. I get stressed out with uncertainty. Then you may want to leave Earth. May want to do that. And I'm not trying to be funny or a jerk to you, but that's just part of the game. Like, there are no guarantees, except one day we're all going to die and the sun's going to explode. All right, let's see. Reading Dave says, so do you think that overwhelming passion hurts a relationship? I don't know. Did it hurt one of your relationships? Let's see. Healthy Cow says, I did, but you don't need to send me a gift card. I have some lying around the house for Christmas. I still haven't redeemed. Yeah, it's just my way of, other than just sending you cash, I thought that would be kind of crass, so I wanted to just have a nice gesture for you. Jimmy Reagan says, how do I sign up? All right, let's talk about that. Let's see if YouTube has stopped being a jerk to me. Let's see if this works, because usually YouTube screws these links up and doesn't let it work. I don't know, it looks like it's actually working now. So I just posted a link. Let me go back to, where are we? Oh, that sucks. There it is, okay. So who was the one that just asked? Um, Jimmy Reagan says, how do I sign up? Just posted the link, Jimmy. Reading Dave says, I'm reading your challenge. Ryan and Taylor Brodsky says, quick question. Why do I bite my nails? I don't want to, but I can't stop. It's unconscious. I don't really have stress, maybe bored, maybe anxiety, but just what you need to do is associate something terrible with biting your nails so that you will mentally frame it differently and then stop it. All right, let's see. Daniel Lago says, how do you want something so bad when you hear so many voices and get confused? So you have to foster desire. There's actually a book on my shelf that I'll cover probably as part of the 52 book challenge called The Journey of Desire. Desire doesn't just come to you. Like, it's something that you have to feed, and you have to feed it daily. And then it has to consume you to the point where you're just willing to do whatever it takes to get it. And what you find in the world is why most people just kind of live these kind of middle of the road lives, is they never get to the point where they want something bad enough. It's why everybody's not a billionaire. You know? Let's see. Healthy Cow says, how can I be more confident in public? There has been times I wanted to help people that look like they could use it, but I always freeze up with anxiety and then just feel like an ass. As well as when I think something is wrong, I'm not able to stand up, and I don't like it, but I can never act, and I feel awful about it. So there's a couple of things there. Like, you have some limiting beliefs that you need to address. You said, I can't react. I can never act. I feel like an ass. You need to change those frames. What you need to say is, when I see people in need, I desperately want to help. And I'm learning to overcome the anxiety that keeps me from doing it. That's what you need to say. And you need to say that enough to where you get to the point where eventually you'll be able to overcome the anxiety, because you'll change the belief in the story you're telling yourself about yourself, right? It's why, like, the Bible has this scripture that says you have to renew your mind daily, every single day, because your mind is wired to go directly to the negative. You have to feed your mind with the positive thoughts. And I don't mean like positive thinking, I don't mean that. If something sucks, it sucks. You saying it's great is not going to make it not suck. But what you have to do is change your perspective about the thing that sucks so that you can change around it and thus get different results. Austin Williams says, nice. What is your opinion on physical health when it comes to making a business? Amazing. It's the number one thing people want, is better health. Straight up. So if you're making a business around physical health, you will probably do well. Zaxer says, any tips on managing anger issues? Well, a couple of things. One, a wise man once told me I can never fix a problem unless I understand why the problem is the way it is. So do I understand what's making me angry and why I get angry about it? And can I frame what's happening to me in a different way so that it doesn't lead to anger, it leads to me feeling a different emotion. Right? Like, I changed, so like, I'll give you an example. When I work out, there's certain workouts that I do where I feel like I'm going to vomit at the end of the workout. When I first started experiencing that as a teenager playing football, I was like, oh my God, this sucks. But what I reframed it in my mind was, well, wait a minute. If I'm feeling like this, that means I'm getting stronger and I'm overcoming weakness. So every time I get that feeling, I immediately think, oh, I'm overcoming weakness. So I almost like look forward to feeling like that, right? So the thing that's making you angry, you need to reframe it so that it makes you feel something else. And sometimes it's just removing the source of your anger, right? Sometimes it's simpler than that. It's, if something's making you angry, get it out of your life. Daniel Lagos says, thank you very much, BC, and I will be waiting for that book to read it and add it to the book challenge. Awesome. Yeah, I imagine that will make it into because the 52 book challenge isn't just going to be one challenge. I'm going to do, every year I'm going to have hopefully 52 new books and just keep it going over time, so it'll become the billion book challenge at some point. But somewhere the journey of desire. Just understand it's a faith-based book, so there's going to be talk of God and Jesus and stuff. So people are offended by that. You know, take the good and you can leave out the stuff that you don't like. But just know it's a faith-based book. But it's a really good book about understanding desire and how desire is a good thing, even though the church for a lot of years has worked to make people believe it's not. Olabelle says, as an INFJ, how do I strengthen my lesser functions, becoming more balanced? So you'll find different schools of thought in the Myers-Briggs religion where people are like, well, you can't make a thing that you're not strong at. I 100% don't believe that. I think you just have to have practical exercises in your life where, so for example, if you believe in cognitive functions, then you believe that my wife's strongest suit is what's called extroverted feeling, which means her decision-making process is going to center around how her decisions affect other people. That's not my default setting. My default setting is outcomes and thinking, right? Extroverted thinking, which makes us a good team. But sometimes I have to stop and consciously realize, okay, this thing that I'm going to do, I'm around a lot of other people who are extroverted feelers. I need to consider how this is going to affect the group in my actions. And then through practice, you just naturally get better. I don't think you necessarily change the core of who you are, but you can certainly adapt your behaviors to your environment. And it's just like anything else in life. It's like learning how to dribble a basketball left-handed. You just need to keep doing it. Let's see. Guardian Soulblade says, the Bible also says, out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. So you need to speak about yourself too, 100%. In fact, the newest pillar in the 69 pillars is titled, Stop Talking About Your Problems and Start Speaking to Your Problems. Stay tuned. That's going to drop on Monday if you're in the 69 Pillars of Success program. And if you're not in the 69 Pillars of Success program, then by all means, there you go. Another free program. No charge. Nair Karina says, hi, Bryant. Glad to see you again. Have you read the book, How to Fail at Almost Everything and Still Win Big by Scott Adams? I have not. It sounds very interesting, though. Nair Karina says, if so, what do you think? I'm reading it, and my next book is going to be the How to Manage Oneself, the one that you recommended every time. Yeah, I think it's a great book. The second book, How to Fail at Almost Everything and Still Win Big. I imagine it's something that Joel Salatin once taught me where he said anything worth doing is worth doing poorly first, right? You don't have to be great to start, but you have to start to be great. And no one's great when they first start. I imagine that's kind of what the book is about based on the title. But yeah, it sounds very interesting. Let's see. Dominic Moran says, Bryant, how do you get a thick skin? I'm going to go with Jocko Willink's answer when people ask him, how do I be tougher? And he's like, you just be tougher. You decide that things are not going to offend you and you're not going to react negatively when someone does something that makes you feel insecure. It's a decision. It's binary. You either choose to be soft-hearted and get offended at everything, or you choose to, okay, I'm gonna let it roll off my back. It doesn't mean you won't feel the feelings, but you can control your actions. It's like the Bible says, be angry and sin not. So being angry is not a sin, but acting out of anger can lead to sin, right? Or can be something sinful. So it's very much like you just be tougher. Like, I don't know any other way to say it other than stop being so sensitive about everything. Toughen up, right? Decide that everything someone says to you is not going to make your world fall apart. Why? Because if somebody says something negative about you, it may not be true, right? Or if somebody says something that kind of pushes your buttons, get rid of the buttons. You know, some things are really that simple. We humans tend to complicate stuff so much. Let's see. Ryan Brodsky says, how can I say more of what I want without being a jerk? I don't know. Depends on what you're trying to say. Austin Williams to Lola Bell says, try development of consistency. Let's see. Guardian Soulblade says, I had an article I wrote past 10,000 views. I'm very proud of myself, as well you should be. That is no small feat. You know, my first video that went over 1 million views, I thought that was like I thought that was like, well, we can just go home to be with Jesus now. Okay, cool. So we talked about so nobody said I when I asked how many of you are in the 52 book challenge. So does that mean none of you who watch me regularly are in the 52 book challenge? Because if that's true, we need to get that fixed immediately. So I guess if you're not in the 52 book challenge, say no in the comment section below. Oh, they said me. Who said it? I didn't see anybody. Okay, so official Shadow Zeeb says no. A3 person says no. Reading Dave says no. I just spell. I got I. Okay, roger that. Austin Williams says no. Man, I feel like I failed you guys, man. Like, do you not see these videos when I put them out? It's like if I don't make a video about INFPs or INFJs, nobody watches it. That's one of the things I don't like about YouTube is on Facebook, I can make people see my stuff. YouTube, I'm at the mercy of people's whatever they're searching for at the moment or whatever they subscribe to me for versus what I want to make as a creator. It would be like if music worked the way YouTube did, like every album Metallica drops, people just, oh, I'm not listening to that. That's not what I signed up for. All right, so I'm giving you guys a link. I want you to go to the link. And all you got to do is put your email in and then hit I accept the challenge. I'm not going to spam you with a bunch of emails. You'll get an email once a week that gives you the book to read, gives you a summary of the book, and then gives you what to look for as you're reading the book and gives you tips about how to get through books more quickly, which books are books you should read every word versus which books are books you should do more like a treasure hunt. And then in that also, on the website that it's going to allow you to join, you'll get a video synopsis of the book where I also get into some more life coaching issues that I think are important that I took away from the book. So definitely get on board with that. I just posted the link in the description, so get on that. A3 person says, I mean, I saw it, but I'm not very big on reading. I kind of want to practice 3D modeling and art more. All right, so I will accept that you don't like to read, but you need to be able to get knowledge from somewhere. So if you don't want to read, listen, or watch YouTube videos, I mean, I guess you're here, so you're doing that. I would say get bigger about reading. And if you're like here's the thing that's awesome about the program. I hate reading, like the practice of picking up a book and reading it. But I have developed methods to help me get through books quickly and not have to be bored while I'm getting the knowledge out of them. Right? And I'm not talking about reading stuff like Harry Potter, like we're reading stuff that's actually going to be life-changing and help you develop as a person. Let's see. Udemy courses. Yeah, Udemy courses can be useful if they're good courses. You know, and audiobooks too. And I have links even in the program to get the audiobooks as well. If you don't want to read it or buy the book, you can just get the audiobook. Lola Bell says, I'd love to, but I'm on SSI. Social Security has screwed me, living wage, and I need surgery for a rare condition called that, and soon going through the training. So yeah, but the program's free, so you don't have to pay anything. And the books you can get from the library, right? So you don't even have to pay for them if you don't want to. Bryant, drawing on this idea of oversensitivity, do you feel the element of animosity in the overarching screen that we call life is uncalled for, and what can people do to combat this? Let's see, what are you saying? Drawing on the idea of oversensitivity, Do you feel the element of animosity? I think people perceive animosity sometimes where there isn't any. And I think sometimes people mistake apathy for animosity, where it's, especially as you get older, you start to realize people really don't care about you as much as you think they do. People like actually aren't thinking about you as much as you think you are. I think you get less narcissistic with age, especially as a person who raises young kids. Kids are violently narcissistic. But as you get older, you realize people really aren't sweating you that hard. And most of our insecurities are things that are internal problems that we have that we blame the rest of the world for, but it's really us. Like if I am offended because somebody said something to me, it's my problem, not theirs. Like if somebody calls me the N word, yeah, I can play the hate speech card. I can play the, oh, that was offensive. But no, if I'm offended, it's because I think there might be some truth to what they're saying. I'm not an N word. So why would I even react to some idiot who doesn't know how to carry on a conversation without trying to insult somebody? Like I'm trying to get people to live at a higher level of consciousness than this kind of base level CNN BS world that we live in. Right? So that's my thought on that. I think we combat it by getting smarter. Dominic Moran says, so a book a week, 56 days, that's easy. Yeah, so 52 weeks. There's one book a week, 52 weeks in a year. All right, what do we got? Jacine Paul says, I have a hard time finishing a book, though. I do like, oh, then this program is perfect for you, because I teach you how not finishing a book's not always a bad thing. More on that in the program. Healthy Cow says, I solely use audiobooks, but I really would like to start a book collection. A3 person says, I suppose I'll try audiobooks. I just hope they're not too expensive. Yeah, and if they are, actually, believe it or not, libraries have audiobooks too. So you can just go to the library and check it out and get the CDs and listen to it. I think if you get the CD, then you can get it on your computer and put it on your iPod. All right, lots of different ways you can get access to it if money is an issue. Let's see. Lali Hernandez says, hi, Bryant. How to stop being so immature and coward to confront the real life? It's kind of a broad question. I don't think first it's stop believing that you're a coward. Start there. Right? And start believing that you do have at least some level of courage and that you're going to continue to grow on that courage every single day. I just don't think humans are as bad as we've been led to believe we are. All right, let's see. Anna Anderson says, I can come up with myriad reasons, teach in a humongous district in Texas, keeping my head above water, feel like I have no free time. This is a luxury, etc. I freaking love reading. Checking out the site now. Cool. Also, I did a poll, and I'll close with this, and I'll let you guys get on with the rest of your weekend. I did a poll on my YouTube community page where I asked if I could teach you guys any given course, right? Like if I could teach you a course, what would you actually like me to teach you on? Like what would you like to learn, right? And most everybody said, you know, I want to learn about physical health. I want to learn about confidence was a huge one, focus. So I'm starting to build what I'm calling nano courses for people that don't necessarily want to be in like my ninja academy where it's personal development, it's professional development, it's learning how to do marketing, it's learning how to do sales, it's learning how to build a business. But you're talking about a program that's over $1,000. Right? That's 60 hours of content, and then it's monthly hangouts that also cost a certain amount of money a month. First of all, not everybody can afford that. Totally understand it. There was a time in my life where I couldn't afford courses like that. And some people don't necessarily need a fire hose worth of information if they're just trying to get the basics and the fundamentals. So I'm building these nano courses for people to get what we're calling those fundamentals. And so what I'm thinking about doing here is actually sharing it with you right now, because the catch is I have it set up for my VIPs to join at half price. I'm actually pulling it up now. Da, 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 da. Where is it? Right now I have it set up for my VIPs to be able to join, like people who pay me monthly to coach them. And dagnabbit, it always messes up the links. But I have a pre-order form for one of my courses, the course that I'm going to launch in June on confidence. And it's going to be probably 10 modules where I walk you through how to develop like legit self-awareness, going beyond Myers-Briggs and even beyond personality testing to develop some of the other self-awareness tools that you need. So if you've seen my free video on the 5 pillars of self-awareness, when I do one-on-one or group coaching with people, we actually do a deep dive into that, where it's not just what are the 5 pillars of self-awareness and how do you figure them out, but like legitimately jumping into each pillar and showing you how to flesh that out, giving you tools that you can use and worksheets that you can work through, in addition to the video courses, right, that are going to help you build that self-awareness. And then the nucleus of confidence, which is really about competence, but it's like, okay, how do I know what I'm competent in? How do I know what I'm naturally good at? How do I start to figure these things out? And then how do I start to experiment in a way that's not going to cost me tons of time or money? To develop the confidence. And confidence is necessary when you want to find a new job, if you want to start a business, if you want to have healthy relationships with friends, family, significant others. Confidence is something that you need, but the world has this very interesting perception that confidence is the way that I present. Like, I'm very confident on camera, right? Like, I come across like, yeah. What a lot of people don't know is I'm not usually very comfortable on camera. Like during a live show like this, I'm pretty good because I'm actually talking to you guys. But when I have to film, I get a little bit antsy because I'm not actually talking to people. I'm talking into a hole on my phone, right? So anyway, that's one of the things that I was thinking about sharing with you guys tonight. And I think I probably will just go ahead and share it with you, if you promise not to share it with the world. And if people pre-order it, they're basically going to get it for less than 50% of what it's going to cost when we launch it, right? So right now I think it's $47. When we launch it, it's going to be $100. But people who pre-order that course can get into it now, and then when I launch it, you just get access to it, right? And so that'll get you access to like our free stuff, like the 69 pillars of success. You're going to get not just the lessons we launch, but there's going to be workbook exercises that are going to help you with, how to become more organized. How do I actually build confidence? What are some of the things that are keeping me from being confident? Me and Healthy Cow, we're talking about that a little bit tonight. We're going to delve into some of the mindsets that keep you from that. You'll have reading lists, things that you can do. But it's not a course that's 60 hours long. That's, some people go through my courses in a month and they're like, I'm done. What's next? And, we release new videos usually every month. But some people, like 60 hours, I still have people who joined my Ninja Academy when I launched it 2 years ago who haven't been through even 30% of the content because they get busy, or it's just, that's the way courses kind of work. People usually who buy it don't watch all of it. And so they'll ask me questions. I'm like, I covered that like in the 4th video. Right? These courses won't overwhelm you with 60 hours of content. It may end up being 5 hours of content, but it's going to be very focused on helping you build these skills. So we're going to have a confidence course. We're going to have a brief how to build a business course will be one that we launch. We're going to do one on focus. I forgot all the topics that we're going to do. I don't have my notebook here with me. Actually, yeah, I do. I can tell you some of the courses that are coming up. But this is just a way to get more information. It's an opportunity for me to serve you in a greater capacity and in a really affordable way where you don't have to commit a month's paycheck to what we're doing. It's something that, it's $100. Or if you pre-order it, you get it for $50. So we're going to have a leadership course. Confidence and self-esteem is the one we're launching first. Focus. How do you understand your purpose is going to be one we launch. We talked a lot tonight about developing desire, We're going to talk about how do you develop desire in a healthy way, right? Where it's not like hurting other people. I have a course that I'm doing called Motivation is Overrated. That's going to be a very powerful one. Persistence, like people tonight were talking about, I keep wanting to do stuff, but I keep giving up. Why? Right? So we're going to have one on persistence. Somebody asked me to do a lesson on common sense. Probably won't do that one. But we will probably do a simple one on how to start a business, like just the basics, like how do I register an LLC? How do I get an idea for a business? What are what is the number one reason why starting a business is so hard? The answer to that is starting a business is probably the most counterintuitive thing you could ever do on the planet. And it goes against everything you learned in school about success, right? It's almost the opposite of what you learned in school, which is why most people don't either do it or do it successfully, right? So we're going to do a lot of nano courses, which allow me to provide more value and more service to you all and more bite-sized content and way more affordable. So if you're interested in that, I posted a link here where you can get access to it. Let's get through the last of these questions and then we'll call it a night. If you're interested, definitely don't drag your feet because I'm only going to leave the pre-order up probably for, I think, until Sunday, and then I'm going to take it down and it's going to be full price. But if you want to pre-order it now, you can get it for more than 50%. It's like 60% off. All right, so here we go. John Martin says, hi, Bryant. I've been watching your videos for a while. You're an awesome man. I'm an INFP. I just want to say thank you and would like to let you know for sure. Thank you, John. That's a blessing to hear. I think you guys probably undervalue how much that means to me to hear that I've had a positive effect on someone else. I am a person who lives in a world where everything I do is predicated on one day in my future, I'm going to face my dad again in eternity and friends that I've lost in combat. And my whole dedication of my life is to making life better for other people and to end suffering, right? And so when I hear people say that it's actually working, that's my reason for existing. So thank you for sharing that with me. That's a blessing. Reading Dave says, depending on the subject, I might be interested in the nano courses. So yeah, I just gave a laundry list of the courses. Confidence is the one that I just linked here. Let's hope that YouTube doesn't screw up the link and that the link actually works. Let's pull it up. Yep, the link actually works. So you can pre-order today. Let's make sure that link works. Yep, it's still 60% off. Hey, Bryant, I have a serious domestic problem. I need your advice. Currently, I'm unemployed and I'm in college. I'm in a college studying program. I'm looking to open my business within the next 3 to 4 months, and I generally invest 12 hours per day studying. I usually wake up early, do some of my chores, then get to work. Coding and putting things in place for my business. But my dad has a serious problem with me sitting in front of a computer screen all day, and he do think I'm a good leader. I guess he doesn't think you're a good leader at all. He's religious and he empathizes a lot about leadership, and he thinks that I am not a good definition of being a male because of the nature of what I do sitting behind a computer screen all day. Thank you for your advice, by the way. So I don't know really how to advise you. You didn't really ask a question, but I will tell you that being in college and starting a business are usually two things that don't go well together, because starting a business is going to consume your life. So being in college makes that extremely hard because college consumes your life. So what you need to really think about is college what you need to be doing, or do you need to be focused on building a business, right? And I really don't know how to advise you with your dad. I don't know enough about what his expectations of you are, but listen, man, if you're doing, we have to get to a point in our lives where what other people think of us mean less to us than what we think of us. And I'm not saying we ever get to a point where what other people think doesn't matter, but if you think anything anybody says on one of these YouTube or social media channels about me outweighs what I think about me, it's crazy. And we've grown up in this world where we overvalue what other people, even our parents, think about us. When what do you think about you? Right? Like, what do you think about you? Like, do you think you're not the definition of a man? Do you think you're a bad leader? Because the only reason you're going to be insecure about it is if you think he's right. If you think he's wrong, then let him be wrong. Who cares? And yeah, it hurts. And yeah, it's somebody who's close to you who should be backing you up, but they're not. You know, I can't change that. But what you can change is you get focused on, you know, what you can really do to prove them wrong is win. It's the best thing you can do is win at whatever thing you're trying to do. But just know, like, if you're trying to get a business off the ground in 3 to 4 months, getting a business off the ground is stupidly hard, right? And if you think you're going to get a business off the ground in 4 months and go straight into profitability and making a bunch of money, it's usually not realistic. So it's, you really have to think about, is going the business route your best call right now, or is developing yourself? And I don't know what that answer is for you, but by God, if your biggest problem right now is your dad doesn't see you the way you see you, then you need to spend more time thinking about how you see you. And you need to fall in love with you and start becoming your biggest fan. Because when you're your biggest fan, like my kids all the time, like, Dad, I don't like that you did this. Yeah, but I'm working to make your life amazing. So if you're mad at me because I didn't let you play video games today, I made you read a book, great. You're welcome. Like, you think in the moment I'm worried about what my son thinks about me? He thinks I'm a bad dad because I didn't let him play freaking Dragon Ball Z and I made him read a book? Great. All right, because my opinion of myself is higher than his. Okay. All right. Any last minute questions? And thank you to all of you who joined the pre-order for the course. Like I said, I hope to have it out by the end of June. But when you join, you'll notice that you don't, in the moment, have access to anything because it hasn't been created. But don't worry. We'll start to create the program, and then I'll be in touch with you. It means once you join, I have your email address. I'll be in touch with you about progress and how we're coming along. A lot of the content is content that I've made many times. I just need to remake it for the course and actually get it uploaded. And hope to have all of that done by the end of June. So thank you to those of you who pre-ordered. Usually when people do that, it shows me that they're hungry for progress and success and maybe for change. And usually those are the people who win. People who make the early decisions to get on board with something are usually ones that win. It's just usually the way it goes. We also have a money back guarantee. So like if for whatever reason we decide not to launch the program, don't worry. We got your money. We'll send it back to you. Right? I'm not in the business of taking people's money and not delivering. Right? We're going to either over deliver or you're going to get your money back. But we're going to over deliver. That's the way it is. I've actually, a lot of what I'm going to be teaching in the confidence program is stuff that I teach people when I do in-person coaching. So, and everyone that's been through one of my in-person coaching programs is like, geez, man, I can't believe I got all of this for the amount of money that I paid for you to coach me. So, and in a good way. So a lot of goodness is coming your way. Thank you for everybody that did that. What else we got? All right. Looks like I've covered all of the questions. We still have a lot of people here, though, so I want to make sure. Okay. Let's see. All right, last call. Any last minute questions? All right, so be on the lookout for more nano courses. We're going to do confidence first. I haven't decided what the second course is going to be. We'll probably either do leadership or how to start a business. Leadership is a pretty big one. When I talk about some of the lessons I had to learn, I had to put my life in harm's way to learn them. Leadership is certainly one of them. And when you learn about what the core of what good leadership actually is, it's usually not what people think. It's actually being a servant. You look at how like Alexander the Great led his people, especially in combat. You learn a lot about the soul of a human being who's a great leader and why he was so great. And he also traveled. He went to war with a library of books. So if he's got time to read books during a war, you certainly got time to read more books. Let's see. Assertiveness, one more question. Is there a difference between confidence and assertiveness? Yeah, confidence is more of an internal thing, and then assertiveness is how you communicate that confidence. Let's see. Daniel Lago says, thank you to all of you and have a great weekend. And to you, BC. Yeah, thank you guys. Guys, it's been a blessing. It's always a blessing to share with you any small amount of knowledge I have that I can pass on is a blessing to be able to do so. My phone is now at 10% battery, so I don't want to lose you all before we go. More to follow on the nano courses. Get into the 52 book challenge if you haven't already. It's free. Like, I'm going to help you read books for free. Like, I'm going to basically give you enough information to win every week at no cost, right? It's just a way for me to give back. Fast Lane with Krishna Chandak says, hey, I love your work. Thank you. Reading Dave says, thank you. I'll try to have questions ready for you next week. Okay. Anna Anderson says, thank you. Thank you. I'm at 3 myself. Night, night. Awesome. I wanted some advice with YouTube and business and where I can get more. I'm assuming there's more to that sentence. But yeah, thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in, for being a part of my movement to leave Earth better than I found it. I hope you got something good out of tonight. I hope my brash and very direct demeanor isn't offensive to you, but if it is, get your skin thicker, right? It's the world I live in. I have questions about getting more in regards to YouTube and your ebook. Yeah, I mean, if YouTube is a thing that you're trying to do like professionally, I highly recommend my Ninja Academy, my social media Ninja Academy, where we have, I think it's 30 lessons just on YouTube, but we teach on Facebook and LinkedIn. I haven't decided if I'm going to do Instagram yet, just because a lot of what I do on Instagram is very different than what a lot of people would be trying to do. Like, what I do on Instagram is much better for business owners than for people that just want to have a popular Instagram account. Also, I'm creating business and a new channel, and if you wanted to give advice on my channel. Yeah, so I don't really give advice on people's channels. Like, people ask me, hey, can you come check out my channel? And it's usually like, look, the formula is simple. Make really awesome content that people want to watch, and people will watch it. You know, that advice sounds really basic, but what most people don't realize is the reason why their channels don't do what they want their channels to do is content's not good enough. And by good enough, I mean good enough to other people. Not like it's edited well or any of that, but it's you're making something that people actually want to watch. And that's where most people falter. But we go into a lot more detail with that in our Ninja Academy, which if you have my book, you've seen the Ninja Academy, you would have gotten taken to the website to learn more about that. If you have more questions about that, email me offline. I don't really need to talk about it here because this audience isn't really folks that deal with that much. But you can email me and we can go from there. Anyway, I love you all very much. Thank you so much for being a part of the movement. Remember always that we are stronger than I. I'll see you soon.